What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the driveway, where today, well, we are finally covering a subject that has been a long time in the making. You see, YouTube isn't my full daytime job, so therefore it's been kind of hard for me to balance YouTube with other daily activities and other areas of my personal life. But it seems every time I post something on one form of social media or another, I always get a lot of the same questions, and one that keeps reoccurring, especially from quite a few of my longtime subscribers that have been with me since basically the beginning. Well, they've been asking me what is going on with the personal vehicles. We haven't seen a video like that in a while. And today, well, I plan on starting a series of personal vehicle updates because, well, I just purchased another car. I'm gonna flat out say it, but there's a little bit more of a story to this one than you might think. So if you're an adult like me, I suggest you grab a beer, or if you're not quite that age, grab a soda and grab a snack and sit back as we go over my latest purchase in my automotive history. So the last time you guys saw a personal vehicle update from me of any kind, I was driving a 2010 Toyota RAV4 Sport. And honestly, I never thought I was going to get rid of that thing because it was reliable as stink. It drove great. It didn't do the greatest on gas, but you know what? I could kind of forgive all of that because it was just something to drive. And I had that car for about 3 years. Having bought it in 2018, I just, like I said, thought I was going to keep it forever. And I actually had plans to give it to my girlfriend as her car and get myself something else. Unfortunately, though, towards the end of my ownership with it, well, it was having some issues, mainly electrical problems. The transmission was acting up a little bit. The air conditioning was going out or in and out kind of thing. So it was having its fair share of problems. And I decided, in my infinite wisdom, to trade it in on a 2022 Kia K5 GT Line Premium. Now, that car I leased, not bought, but I really did think I was going to keep that car forever because it was wolf gray on black. It looked amazing. It had all the features I wanted, you know, navigation, panoramic roof. It got over 40 miles to the gallon on the highway. I mean, I was just in heaven. But only after 11,500 miles and having that car for a year and a half, I realized, kind of like my other automotive purchases in the past, that I bit off a bit more than I could chew. So I made the smart decision, went back to the same Kia dealership that I bought it from, and I sold it back to them and actually made a bit of money off of it. So I took that little bit of money and some generous donations from a couple of family members, and I bought myself a car that I have been wanting since it came out. And keep in mind, the car you're gonna see is nothing too terribly modern, but again, it's a car I've wanted for eons and quite rare at the same time. How rare? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And as some might say, VTEC has just kicked in, y'all, because this is my new daily driver, a 2014 Honda Accord EX sedan. And you may be thinking to yourself, why on earth would you say that a car like this, that they sold almost 400,000 of back in 2014, could potentially be rare in any sense of the word? Is it the modern steel metallic paint? Well, no, it's not. Is it the fact that it has a very smooth 2.4 liter Earth Dreams 4-cylinder engine? No, that's not either. Is it the fact that it has less than 100,000 miles on it? Well, maybe, but no, that's not the rarest part of this car. It's rare because if I come over here and I open the door, what's that? Oh, yeah, it's a manual. Now, before we start the obligatory walk around like every good YouTuber would do with their latest automotive purchase, I have to give two massive shout outs right away. And the biggest one of all goes to Autotempest.com. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form paid or sponsored by Autotempest at all, but if it was not for their wonderful website that combines all major car listing sites into one quick search, I would not have found a car that I have wanted to drive for absolutely ever. Now, this Accord was actually listed via TrueCar, but again, they work with Autotempest, so it was definitely the right car at the right time, and definitely at the right price too. And that segues into the second biggest shout out I have to give, which is to the name on the license plate frame, Mercedes-Benz of the Woodlands. The customer-oriented experience that they gave me was second to none. Quite honestly, it was the best experience I've ever had purchasing a vehicle of any kind, and I loved my experience so much I've even included their website in the description description box below. So if you want to check out any of the new Mercedes inventory they have, or perhaps find yourself a beautiful gem of a vehicle like this one, check out their website I've provided down below. Trust me, you won't be disappointed with your experience. All right, shout outs over. Let's get to the walk around. And I wanted to start off by saying that I have actually purposefully not washed this car just for this video. And it's mainly to teach all you keyboard warriors out there that keep commenting that I film way too many dirty cars and I don't wash them or take the time to properly clean them before I film them, a bit of a lesson. Because unlike press cars that, you know, I have them for a week at a time and they get dirty and I try to keep them as clean as possible, this Honda is my daily driver. It is going to be taking me to work and back. It's going to be taking me on all kinds of errands, road trips, events, you name it. This car is going to be put through it all. And I don't have every single waking second of my life to spend polishing out every little finite detail on this car. Yes, it's 9 years old. The paint needs a hefty correction because it is full of swirls. But that is not the reason why I bought this thing. I bought this car because, again, I've lusted after it ever since this 9th generation Accord came out way back when. But enough of a rant, let's get to some specs. So now, instead of giving you a full rundown of all the factory specs of this car like I do in my other videos, I wanted to give you a few things that I wanted to change about this car, as well as some things I actually like about this particular one that I got. First of all, I love the paint color, the modern steel metallic. You really see a lot of cars in this color. Same thing with the polished metal that I know Honda came out with around the same time. This one looks a little more true gray, not so much like a grayish brown, kind of like the polished metal color. That is paired with a black grayish cloth interior, again the EX, kind of the middle of the road trim for the CR2 Accord lineup. But the EX does come with some cool stuff. I've got the advanced keyless access. I have a sunroof with a absolutely hideous rain guard on it, and I do plan on taking this off. If anybody wants this, just let me know. It just comes off with a couple of screws, and there's some clips hanging it on underneath. There's the button on the chrome door handle there for the advanced keyless access. This also has Honda's lane watch, if I didn't just say that already. So even though it does not have any kind of camera on the driver's side mirror, if you look over at the passenger side over here, there is a giant little extension hanging off the bottom, and that is the camera that shows up in the center screen when you turn your signal to the right. Now, a couple of the things I want to change on this car are, for one, this thing came with halogen headlights from the factory, and even though they're these very nice projector housings, I already have an LED headlight kit on order to at least replace the main beams. I plan on doing the turn signals, the high beams, and the factory fog lights down below as well, all turning those into LED. I would love to swap over the factory grille for the JDM style one. I think that would look a whole lot better. I also really want to add the Honda Accessories lip kit front, side, and rear to give it a little bit more, I don't want to say of an aggressive stance, but just, you know, liven it up a little bit, make it look a little more sporty. Another thing I want to do is change out these 17-inch alloy wheels. I don't mind them, they don't look bad. And the fact that they're wrapped in brand new Michelin Cross Climate 2 tires, well, I think I'm going to hang on to these for a while, but my ultimate goal would be to fit the 19-inch wheels from the 10th generation Accord Sport on here. That is kind of turning it into a Honda part spin special, so to speak, but I really think the design of those wheels would look really, really nice. But the last thing that I probably am going to want to change has to do with this area, the back end of the car. Well, it's actually a couple of things. I would love to swap out the taillights for the 16 and 17 Accord taillights, if that is a possibility, because I like the look of those a little bit better. I also kind of want to get rid of this wing. It is unique, and I don't know if that's a genuine Honda Accessories wing or not, but when I first saw it, I just really wasn't a fan of it. I would much rather have the genuine lip spoiler that goes across the back, like you would get on the Accord Sport. And then it has a single outlet exhaust down here, and I don't know if they make any single outlet exhaust for an Accord EX, but if they do, I plan on swapping that over because the car already sounds pretty good just by itself when you're driving it, but I think it could be a little bit nicer. Okay, so the outside could use some updates, but if I unlock this car and you look inside, It actually seems relatively basic in here. Like I said, I do love these cloth seats, by the way. I actually really like the material. It's more kind of like a microfiber kind of feeling versus the typical checkered cloth and stuff like that that you might find in other cars. I'm also glad it has a power driver's seat in this one because I'm over 6 feet tall. I would prefer a lot more leg support, and the fact you can raise the front of the seat up on this one definitely is a bonus for me. But as you step in, first of all, it is extremely hot out here, so we'll go ahead and start this thing up. We are in neutral, I do believe. Put the clutch in, and again, because this one has push button start. And of course, once you hit the button, you get that ubiquitous sound of that K24 4-cylinder engine firing into life. So we go ahead and close the door. And I can only imagine what this must have been like for a new Accord buyer back in 2014. I mean, look at the dash, look at all of this. The climate controls, I mean, I've seen that in Hondas before. Same thing with like this little door right here, which this is always prone to breaking, so I keep that closed for good reasons. But the screen, nice and big, pretty brightly lit. I actually like the gauges in this one too. They're kind of contemporary, if you want to call them that. Kind of had that fancy numeric thing going on, not so much the red accented sport gauges that I think most Honda Accord manual owners probably have. But of course, we have to talk about this all-important 6-speed manual transmission. The real reason I went looking for a manual is because the only other option for this car is a CVT transmission, and I dislike those with a heavy passion, and that's about the nicest way I could possibly say it. To start with though, aside from the gear stick, I love that it has a manual e-brake handle. No powered e-brake, none of these little pull tabs that you can't do handbrake turns with or anything, just a big, proper mechanical e-brake. But I love the manual transmission. The throws are a little bit longer than I remember. They're not as kind of short like that of a Civic Si, but then again, you go all the way over and back for reverse. There's a nice backup camera up there, but it just feels right when you drive it. The gear stick is nice and just right at the perfect height to go from the steering wheel to the gear stick. I actually like the knob itself, even though it is pretty worn out after, what's the mileage right now? 81,885 at this very moment. But still, I mean, I love the way it drives. I might replace this with just another factory one or maybe like a Mugen one, I don't know. But either way, I love everything about this interior. It's just simple. It works, it does everything you ask of it, and even then some. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, what's been going on with all the personal vehicles so far, along with a full walkthrough of my newest automotive purchase. If you guys like this video and you want to keep up with more content that I plan to be posting about this car, hit the thumbs up button, and also while you're at it, hit the subscribe button down below, because trust me, I always appreciate the support, and it makes me want to keep doing silly little stuff like this in the future. But at the end of it, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody, and stay safe.